I have a confession to make. I can't stop making YouTube videos and uploading them to youtube.com. It's an addiction! I can't stop making you guys laugh. I'm sick. I'm a sick man. I can't stop making bangers. I'm addicted to making you guys press the like button. Right now. I need help! But that's for another day. Today, another video. Of course. Confessions, part 7. A few years back, I was home alone during a power storm. I went into the bathroom to take a dump. Epic. And at the exact time I was shitting, I sneezed. Well, the power went out as well. Okay, wizard. Yo, being a wizard is crazy. Okay, Harry Potter era. Not you being a wizard. The house was pitch black, and I literally thought I shit myself blind. Holy fuck! We're off to a great start. Oh my god. Imagine shitting and sneezing at the same time and then thinking you went blind. That's so funny. It's like the perfect, because you never shit and sneeze at the same time, you know? So to do it one time and have something happen, your brain would just automatically be like, oh my god, I did the lethal combo. The human body's not supposed to do that, clearly, because I just went fucking blind. I couldn't see my hands, so in a panic I was yelling, no, this cannot be true. I was in a panic, feeling for the toilet paper to wipe and flush. After completing the task, I just sat on the toilet trying to figure out how to tell everyone I know that I literally shit myself blind by sneezing while shitting. Dude, this is so fucking funny. Man, this sucks and also is so embarrassing. I don't know what's worse, being blind for the rest of my life or telling people how it happened. I mean, on the plus side though, it is a pretty unbelievable, like, poop story. Like, you would trump anyone else's poop story, you know? You know when you're in a convo and people start sharing poop stories? You know, that situation that happens pretty often, hanging with your friends. You know, you're sitting around in a room and someone's like, dude, I took the biggest one the other day. And then someone else is like, yeah, well, I shit a bunch of corn. And then you're like, you won't fucking believe what I'm about to say. After about 2 minutes of complete darkness and dread and panic, lightning struck outside and it lit up my hallway. Best damn feeling ever. I mean, I can't. I cannot. This is one of the best things I've ever read online. Just the thoughts that would be going through that guy's head. How could I do this? Why did I shit so hard? Why? I always tell you don't push your turds out that hard. And now you really did it this time. You shit yourself blind. Never gonna be able to see anything ever again because of your big ass turds. So fucking stupid. Mad at yourself because you shit so hard? Why'd you have to push with such force, you freaking dummy? God, that's so funny. So funny. What am I gonna tell mom? Oh man, it's gonna be so embarrassing. It took me so long to read because I kept losing it at, no, this cannot be true. Sitting there. No! No! Bro, this can't be true. No! Parents are upstairs like, it's just a power outage. What's he screaming about down there? No! My eyesight, no! I mean, dude, I love this. That is so fun. I'm having fun, man. I'm having a good time. I lie to my child every Friday. This is my 4-year-old's first school year, and he is in pre-K. He hates school so far and says it's boring, so I tell him that if he wakes up and goes to school without fighting me, he can stay home 2 days out of the week. During the week, I remind him about our deal when he is misbehaving, so he thinks I let him skip school on Saturday and Sunday because he's well behaved. Damn, I mean, it's not the worst thing in the world. I mean, you do lie to your children about a lot of other things. Tooth Fairy, Santa, Easter Bunny, leprechauns, that they're not gonna get a divorce. Stuff like that, you know what I'm saying? No, I'm kidding. I'm joking. That was a little joke for me. My parents are still together. Yours, it might not have been a joke for you, and I'm sorry about that if that is the case for you. But anyways, I really don't know. Morally, I don't really know how I feel about this. Like, he's gonna find out one day that the weekend exists. He's gonna be, like, kind of pissed. This person says, parenting is hard. Props to you for finding a hack that works. Carry on. Yeah. I mean, I feel like that's probably most parents' advice. It's just like, hey man, shit is complicated and it's hard as fuck, so you find something that works, use it. That's why kids are so fucked up on iPads these days though, because the iPad works every time. I don't know if that's good advice in every case, but I guess this is kind of harmless, I guess. I hated my mother for doing stupid shit like this, and now I don't tell her anything about my life. Yeah, I feel like that's how it's gonna manifest though. Unfortunately, so maybe it's just not good. Maybe I don't have the answers, man. I feel like I would try to tell my kid the truth and see if there's another way to get him to fucking behave. I feel like a good lie to tell your kid would be something like, don't force your turds out too hard or else you'll go blind. You going to the bathroom? All right, son, you know the golden rule. Don't be pushing too hard. I tried to change my hermit crab's outfit when I was 5. When I was 5, I had a hermit crab who had a shell that was painted pink with a Powerpuff Girl on it. Blossom, to be exact. I had her for a while and thought she may be tired of her outfit, shell, and decided I should change her into something else. I found a cute shell from a collection of seashells I had and decided that was one of, please do not tell me you ripped the shell off this fucking turtle. I mean crab, please. Damn, I don't know why I thought it was a turtle for a second. That'd be way worse, dude. Picturing some kid fucking peeling the fucking shell off a turtle. Crab is like, all right, it's like, yeah, it's a crustacean. We eat those fuckers. I'm sure you fucking cracked some crab legs with your bare hands, you know? I found a cute shell from a collection of seashells I had and decided that was the one for her night out on the town. Now, getting her out of the outfit was the issue. I didn't know what to do and I didn't want to yank her out, but somehow thought breaking her out would be better. So I got my hands on a hammer, don't know how, took her out to the front porch and smashed her shell open with it, trying to get her out to change her. My dad came out because he heard me screaming after I broke the shell open, and he screamed too, not knowing what to do, and what the fuck his daughter just did. Lol. Long story short, I brutally murdered my hermit crab at the age of 5. This still haunts me to this day, and I feel so much guilt 19 years later. My dad, boyfriend, and I are the only 3 that know about this until now. R.I.P. Blossom. I kind of love that these like future serial killers post on here about the animal death that they've done. You know, they're always like, I swear I was just trying to change the outfit. I wasn't like a bloodthirsty little kid. Smashing your pet with a hammer? There wasn't like a little part of your 5-year-old brain that was like, oh man, this doesn't really make that much sense.
Dad, are we almost at the ocean?
Yes, son. I can almost taste that ocean water.
I must change you! Dude, walking in on your kid killing an animal with a hammer has to be the worst feeling ever. You know what? No, I'm not gonna blame this person that hard. First of all, she was 5 years old. So it's like, you know, I get it. You're 5 years old, you don't know life and death yet, you know? I don't think. I don't know. Someone told me as a fully grown adult, I was like 30 at this point, someone gave me a lobster that they caught, California lobster. It was alive, and they told me the way that you cooked it was you pulled it apart in order to kill it, and then you cooked it. And I did that. I fucking pulled apart a live lobster, and I'm still scarred to this day. And I was not 5, I was 30. And for some reason I thought that was what you do. And I literally, with my bare hands, I'm sorry! And I watched it, like, I'm not gonna go into the details, it was fucking dark and horrible. I wish I didn't do it. I wish I took the knife to the brain or whatever you're supposed to do. I'll never forget that feeling. I guess I resonate with this one a little bit. All right, I don't have a great history with fucking shellfish. God, that was a little bit cathartic, admitting that. I've said that on the podcast before, but I figured you guys maybe should know that as well. Me and lobsters have a weird history. I even named him before I did it. R.I.P. Derek. I'll always miss you. Derek the lobster. Looked up boobs in 3rd grade and got everyone's iPad taken away. View not safe for work content. Ooh, this one's saucy. This one is saucy. I don't think I've told anyone this before because it's so embarrassing, lol. When I was in 3rd grade, we had school iPads that everyone in class would use. At the time, these iPads didn't have school controls on them, so you could almost search up anything on them. One day, we had indoor playtime because it was raining, so I went to the iPad station and played some games. I realized that I was the only one on the iPads and no one was paying attention, so I looked up words like boobs and naked boobs. Nice. If I could dap you up right now, I would. That's fucking sick. He was like, boobs. These boobs all have clothes on them. Let's be a little bit more specific here. Me being the dumb kid I was, I didn't know how to delete search history, so I just turned off the iPads and walked away. Satisfied. Guess what I saw today? He just walked away like so stoked, like fucking, like he just knows something all the other kids don't now. They all don't know what a naked boob looks like. Not your boy. What's up, guys? Can I play with you? Actually, you know what? I'm over that shit. I'm a man now. Well, in 1995, in 3rd grade, I entered whitehouse.com and not whitehouse.gov in front of my whole class and our substitute teacher on our brand new compact desktop. Needless to say, we all got a face full of Bush, and I got my computer privileges revoked for the rest of the day. Wait, George W. Bush? Why would that be bad? Not sure if it's still alive, but it was a porn site many moons ago. Long before the days of web filters, so I showed a bunch of 8-year-olds their first mature, ungroomed vagina. Ah, that kind of Bush. I see I get it now. I understand. Whoever got whitehouse.com and made it a porn site is a fucking evil genius. What was it? Just like, so it's a porn site like dedicated to like grandma pubes? White House? Like, I don't understand. Let me tell you that I have made a bad mistake this evening. My girlfriend, who let me tell you, it's twice that you've said let me tell you in fucking 2 sentences. Who, let me tell you, is only my second girlfriend of all time, said I am invited to dinner with her and her parents. Now, let me tell you, I was very aghast, nervous, and bashful to be invited to such a situation. All right, thesaurus.com, what's going on here? Aghast? Who says aghast? I was very aghast at the proposition. But I knew it must be done. I met them nicely, I should tell you, and I should tell you? Fuck off, dude. Fuck off. Who wrote this? Who wrote this? The idea slapped my mind that I should do a comic bit to make a good impression and become known to them as a person who is amusing. I hate whoever wrote this, dude. When I saw that baked potatoes were served, I got the idea that it would be very good if I pretended I did not know what potatoes was. That would be funny. That would be funny, I agree. Well, let me tell you, backfired. Stop telling me that you're gonna tell me and just tell them. Well, let me tell you, backfired on my face. I'll tell you how. Stop saying that! Just tell it. Stop telling me you're gonna tell me and just fucking tell me. So first, when the potato became on my plate, I acted very interesting. I showed an expression on my face so as to seem that I was confused, astounded, but in a restrained way, curious, and interested, and aghast, and well, bashful, and well, I'll tell you, nervous. They did not notice and seemed confused, but did not remark, so I asked, this looks very interesting. What is this? They stared at me, and the mother said, it's a baked potato. And I said, oh, interesting, and aghast. A baked, what is it again? She was like, a potato. And I was like, a potato? Oh, interesting. Never heard of a potato. Looks pretty good. I'm fully in on this prank. This is hilarious. They're like, the family's like, are you an alien? And then they didn't see I was clowning, but thought I really did not know what a potato is. So I knew I would be very shamed, humiliated, depressed, and disgusted if I admitted to making a bad joke. So what I did was to act as if it was not a joke, but I committed to the act of pretending I didn't know what a potato is. They asked me, very incredulous, did I really not know what a potato is? That I never heard of a potato. I went with it and told them yes, I did not ever even hear of a potato. Not only had I never eaten a potato, I had never heard the word potato. I've now said potato so many times it means nothing. Potato, potato. Potato, what a stupid word, potato. Tato is a dumb word. Potato is even more stupid. Potato is like... This went on for a bit and my girlfriend was acting very confused and embarrassed by my fucked up antics. And I then, the more insistent I was about not knowing what a potato is, was when them parents started thinking I did know what a potato was. Well, let me tell you, I had to commit 100% at this point. Please tell me more. Tell me more. Tell me about how you're gonna tell me a little bit more. When I would not admit to knowing what a potato was, the father especially began to get annoyed. At one point, he said something like, enough is enough. You're fucking with us. Admit it. Dude, that's so funny thinking about the dad like, alright! Sorry about the slam. I know that must have hurt your ears if you were wearing headphones, but alright! Enough! You little fucker! Stop fucking with me and my family! I know you know what a potato is! Grabs him by the throat. Tell me you know what a potato is! Well, let me tell you, he got very annoyed. Please. Stop saying that. I decided to take a bite of the potato, and when I did, I made a high-pitched noise and said, tastes very strange. That is when the father started yelling at me, and the mother kept saying, what are you doing? And my girlfriend went to the mother just like, cut the shit, man. What is this? What are you doing? What are you doing is the funniest question. What are you doing? What is this? Like, why are you doing this? What are you doing exactly? And the dad's just like huffing and puffing like, I know this little fucker knows what a fucking potato is. Come to my house. Nobody comes to my house and pretends like they don't know what a freaking potato is. It's a starch. Act like you never had a fucking potato before. Oh, this kid's got me mad, dude. Never had a scalloped potato? Never had a mashed before? You never had a baked potato? There's so many different forms of them. How could you have never had it, even a bite? Tater tots, french fries, like, God! And the mom's the voice of reason, like, I'm sorry about him, honey, but what are you doing? Surely you've had a potato before. Finally, the father said I should get the fuck out of his house and said it was irrational to treat me like this because I never heard of a potato before. Well, let me tell you, he didn't take that kindly. Please tell us more. Now in text messages, I've been telling my girlfriend I really don't know what a potato is. The only way I can ever get out of this is for them to buy that I don't know what a potato is. I wish I never started it, but I can't go back. I think she will break up with me anyway. This is, I mean, dude, we are having fun today, man. This is hysterical. Let me tell you, this is hysterical. Never had fucking gnocchi? Never had, I don't know, hash browns? Get the fuck out of my house! It's a funny lie because I feel like it happens pretty often where you are eating dinner with someone, like an adult, and they're like, yeah, I've never had a tomato before. And you're like, what? Like some people have just never had, they've gone 30 years without ever having a staple like that. Weirdly, like it happens all the fucking time, I feel like. So this is not that much of a stretch. It is, but it's also like weirdly believable because I feel like this shit like this actually happens. It's like, what do you mean you've never had a fucking tomato? They're like, yeah, they've always kind of weirded me out. My parents didn't make me eat them, so I just like have never touched one. You're like, what? You've never been curious? But to say you've never heard the word potato that is a stretch. Never had a fucking French fry. Now this kid's pissing me off. I forged Good Charlotte's signature for Nintendo. When I was 8, there was a boy in my 3rd grade class who was obsessed with the band Good Charlotte. As were all of us. As we all were. He had this blue Nintendo Game Boy that I had been eyeing for a while, and I decided to propose a trade. I told him that I actually knew Benji and Joel Matt, lead singers of the band, and that I had their autographs. I told him I'd trade him the autographs for his Game Boy, and he enthusiastically agreed. I went home and spent a good 20 to 30 minutes with my next door neighbor forging their signatures. After we agreed on one, we used her parents' lamination machine to make it really legit. The next day, he handed over his Game Boy in return for the fake autographs. This is a good old-fashioned scam right there. Good old-fashioned scam. If you didn't turn out to be a con man, I think you missed your calling, you know? This to me is like a victimless crime. The kid who was a big fan, he's never gonna know. And it's a fucking autograph anyways. Like, it's not like, an autograph is just, it's not about the actual ink on the page, is it? It's more about like the thought that the person maybe did the autograph. It's the thought of them signing it. So if you fully believe that is the case, then what's the difference, you know? Maybe, I don't know, that feels like a stretch. You scammed him. It's a little fucked up to scam him. Hooked up with a guy in college and fell asleep in his dorm room. I woke up in the middle of the night needing to pee so fucking badly, but unable to find any of my clothes right away. I ended up spending so long trying to find them in the dark that by the time I had enough to wear out in the hall to get to the bathroom, I didn't think I'd make it. He was still sleeping, so I grabbed a big reusable water bottle and squatted over it. It was blissful relief until I looked over and saw his roommate staring at me in horror. Hey man, college, you know? That's college. College. People be really doing shit like that in college. It's true though, it's just, I mean, that's not really a crazy confession. So you pissed in a bottle. Happens to the best of us. At least you didn't piss yourself blind. At least you know what a potato is. You know, you gotta look at the bright side. I accidentally got engaged and married. Okay. I've been dating my girlfriend for about 4 years and took her out for dinner on Valentine's Day one year. I had purchased a nice piece of jewelry that I wanted to give her to show how thoughtful I was. That's funny. Not how much you love her. I wanted to show her how thoughtful I am. It was a ring from an antique store that cost 500 bones. It was a big spend for Valentine's, but I thought it'd be a great effort. I wanted to show her how sick I was. We sat down to dinner and I handed her the little gift bag with the ring in it and handed it to her without saying anything. She opened it and exclaimed, "Oh my God, yes!" Before I knew what was happening, the waiter was bringing us complimentary champagne and the whole restaurant was applauding. She called her mother from the table and apparently I was engaged. I didn't say anything because I was a bit shell-shocked and still couldn't wrap my head around what had just happened. Dude, this sounds like a movie. Someone should make this a movie, if it's not already. After a couple of weeks, I figured I would just roll with it, and we got married several months later. For 15 years, my wife would complain to her friends how I didn't say a word when I proposed, and I would always joke that no words can capture the depth of love that I have for you, and that my silence was the most poetic proposal of all time. I planned on taking this secret to my grave because I thought it would break her heart. In a moment of honesty, a few months ago, I decided to let her in on what happened. Horrible, horrible decision. She was a bit miffed, and I think she's still a bit hurt, but I think it's such a great story, and it all worked out so perfectly anyway. We've been married for 15 years, and it was the best mistake I ever made. I mean, it's kind of heartwarming. The fact that they're still happily married 15 years later is awesome, but I don't know, I feel like you shouldn't have told her. Or maybe it's better to be completely honest, but still, like, I feel like no matter what, she's always gonna think like, oh, you never really intended to get married to me, right? Like that, I feel like that's a little hurtful. You did this perfect, except for one thing. Married for 15 plus years, you had to know not to tell her. That's what I'm saying. If it were my husband, I wouldn't want him to tell me. That's what I'm saying. They were probably like both drunk, you know, on vacation or something like that, and they're like laughing, and then he's like, just heat of the moment, he's like, you won't, well, I mean, like, I didn't actually propose to you ever, so. And she's like, wait, what? And then, you know, and then it's like, oh, fuck, why did I do that? Last night, my wife's boss from her brand new job invited us over for dinner. On the drive over, my wife reiterated many times to me just how important it was to make a good impression. I scoffed and arrogantly informed my silly wife that I always make a good impression. My wife's boss is a single lady in her 50s, so it was just the three of us. We chit-chatted over drinks and salads and seemed to be really hitting it off. She laughed at my well-timed, perfectly appropriate jokes, and my wife seemed pleased and aghast. Soon she brought out the main course, a nice big juicy steak for us. Ooh. I'm getting hungry. As I began to cut into my steak, I was discouraged to discover how undercooked this steak was. What if it was like, they brought out this big juicy steak and I decided, as a bit, I would try to convince them I do not know what a steak is. Now, I've had my fair share of rare steak. I prefer medium, but I can handle rare. This was several minutes on a hot grill short of rare. I probably could have resuscitated the cow had I tried. Instead, I sat there fidgeting with my knife and fork, worrying about how I was going to get away with not eating the steak. Claim veganism? No, I'd already feigned great enthusiasm upon seeing the steak. Just then, our hostess excused herself to the kitchen to take care of some dessert preparations. As I looked across the fancy dining room table at the open window of this third-story apartment, a cartoon light bulb appeared over my head. I knew I had to be decisive, realizing that she could return at any moment. I committed. I grabbed the steak with my hand, gently shook off the juice, and executed a perfect throw right through the center of the open window. Oh my god, that's so good. Just a perfect spiral. Fucking a steak spiral. Here's the big time fuck up. The window was not open. It was the cleanest freaking window you've ever seen in your life. That is, until my mostly raw slab of steak slammed up against it and slowly slid down, leaving a trail of bloody juice in its wake. My wife, whose steak was a nice medium rare and was unaware of my predicament, turned, jaw dropped, and stared at me like I was an alien from another planet. This look then slowly morphed into more of a there is no place on this planet you can ever hide from me expression of demonic anger. My wife's boss heard the thud of the steak on window impact and came quickly. She took in the scene, the steak sitting on the windowsill, the blood trail, my empty plate, and then gave me an inquisitive, puzzled look. He's like, okay, how did that get over there? What? How did that get over there? Whoa. Flying steak? I just didn't know what to say. It felt like a minute of silence, but was probably 3 or 4 seconds. Finally, the best I could manage was, I'm so sorry, I'm such a klutz. I don't know, I was just cutting it and it slipped. Just ask my wife, I really am a klutz, right honey? No help coming from that direction. I will clean this up, I can't believe this, I'm so sorry, etc, etc. Both women continued to stare at me like I had escaped from the loony bin as I smeared the blood around the window with my cloth napkin, dusted off the steak, and continued to mutter my incoherent explanation. I knew no one was buying the story. I knew what I had to do. I sheepishly returned to my seat and proceeded to eat every bite of that disgusting, cold, chewy, bloody raw steak. I remained pretty quiet the rest of the evening. My wife's only 2 words to me since the incident are, I'm fine. I really don't believe this one because it's just too weird. Like, who would ever think that throwing a steak out the window is the best option instead of just telling them, hey, this is undercooked? Like, what if you hit somebody on the street? What if there was a knock on the door? Moments later, your boss opened the door and it was a person with like a steak stamp, a meat stamp. It was somebody with a meat stamp on their face. And they're like, hey, did somebody throw a steak out the window? Because it hit me and it really hurt. And I'm suing. Like, that would be way worse. Imagine just walking down the street, minding your own business, and you get hit with a steak. It would be a sign, you know? It's a sign. I must get into competitive barbecuing. I must be a pitmaster. My fate has been chosen. Told people I got hit by a car, but I actually ran myself over. I went out to dinner with my friends and one of them asked me for an Adderall. I keep it in my car, so I excused myself and went out to the parking lot. I had already been drinking as we'd gone to the winery first, and I was still having wine. I get in the car, opened the bottle to get one, and spilled them everywhere, including on the asphalt. The car door was open because I expected to be quickly in and out. The parking lot has no lights, so I decided to turn my car on and back up a little, then use the headlights to find the pills. My phone was inside and I was drunk, so this made sense to me at the time. I put the car in park, found out very quickly I actually left left it in neutral, and then got on the ground to look for pills. Car started rolling back, and I get up to chase after it. It looks like a scene from Mr. Bean's Holiday. I get around the door and manage to put one foot in. I'm trying to stomp on the brake when I somehow tumble out of the car. This is just some fucking Darwin Awards type shit. My 2,900 pound SUV rolled over the back of my left leg. I was so drunk I hadn't even processed what just happened, and I got back up to keep chasing after it. It slowly backed into another vehicle and finally stopped. Nobody was outside or saw me. I drove to a different parking spot and went inside and told my friends we need to get the check. They said I looked disheveled and asked me what happened. I said someone hit me with their car and they demanded security footage and to find out who did this to you. Luckily there is none, and they don't know that I'm both the victim and main suspect in my own hit and run. This is pretty funny. The question here is, do you ever tell your friends? I feel like it's such a good story. I feel like the proper thing to do here would be to start a podcast and tell the story on the podcast. I have fucking brain rot that was my first legitimate thought, is like, well, this would kill on a podcast. Anyways, guys, I have another confession. I'm so goddamn thankful that you just watched this video. Don't tell anyone that. I love you. Don't tell anyone that either. I'll be having that! Goodbye.
Why don't we play something these souls are like? Try whips, I know they like. Twister, you told a ride. Make it was a let me overnight.